another great episode of Community Storytelling. I'm Lisa Chrysler, and sitting next to me is Ann Schwarzmann, and you may know her personally, or you may know her because you hopefully have gone into the Happy Dragon Thrift Shop many times here in Los Gatos. It's such a wonderful store.
It is.
I mean, doesn't everybody know about the Happy Dragon Thrift Shop?
Yes, everybody, not only in Los Gatos, but other areas, other counties know about our thrift store.
It's such an upscale thrift store.
It's upscale. We have great prices, and our merchandise is to die for, yes.
And the proceeds go to, I will always call it EMQ,
yes.
but I know you have another name now.
Yes, EMQ decided, since they are actually more of a presence up and down the state, to change their name to Uplift Family Services.
So it was Eastfield Ming Kwong.
Correct.
And you are a wonderful caretaker for foster children.
Yes.
I keep on wanting to say EMQ, but
I know.
now, what do I want to say?
Uplift Family Services.
Uplift Family Services.
Yes.
And all your proceeds go to them.
Yes.
And it's been like that forever.
Forever, since 1958, when some women got together and decided that they wanted to help raise money for Ming Kwong. At that point, it was Ming Kwong, not even Eastfield Ming Kwong. And they made $1,700, I believe, in their first effort. And by 1959, they had purchased the property we're still in at 245 West Main Street.
245 West Main Street.
And it was a rural supply store that has unbelievably doubled in size since we bought it using green stamps.
Oh,
you remember green
stamps?
stamps?
Yes.
Yeah. So they appealed to the Presbyterian Missions, who was the very, very original with Ming Kwong. They started Ming Kwong back in the 1800s, and so these ladies asked the Presbyterian Presbyterian Church for some help in raising money, and so that's how they bought that property.
And I'm too young to know about green stamps, but my mother used to talk about them. So now, how did you get involved?
I was a customer at the Happy Dragon, and
do you remember what you bought?
I'm a thrift store shopper.
Yeah.
I am not a hoarder. I'm a thrift store shopper. But I usually go through clothing and find little boxes. I like things like that. And so I was approached by one of the volunteers and asked if I wouldn't like to volunteer. And I couldn't think of a reason not to, because it's such a wonderful endeavor, that I said yes.
And you could look at the things all day long.
Yes, much to my husband's dismay. Many of our women go home, and the first thing their husbands ask them is, "What did you find today?"
What was in that bag that you just brought in?
Yeah.
And totally volunteer organization?
Completely volunteer, which has recently, I think the last few years, been a big struggle for us, because we are trying to run a business, but you are asking people to give time.
Right.
So it's very difficult, say, in the summertime, to tell people they can't go away. We don't have a right to do that. So that is why we close Saturdays now in the summertime, because we couldn't get enough volunteers to come in.
That sounds fair.
So there's a give and take.
Do you ever have trouble getting donations?
Never.
I didn't think so.
Never. If I could, I would weigh the donations we get. We have an extremely generous community, and we also have regulars who will come and donate things and then park and come into the store and buy new things.
Wow.
So we've got lots and lots of people donating, and donating very, very nice things.
Now, you may not know the answer to this, but you have any idea what kind of money we're talking about that goes to Eastfield Ming Kwong United Families Services?
We donate quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
And we are very blessed to be able to give them now $45,000 a month.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And is that money used for something special?
It is. It is specifically for the programs for the children. It does not go to anything of the nature of running their business. It goes to all those programs, and they keep extending them, which I think is just incredible. They have an autism program now, and they've also started a psychiatric crisis unit. Kids used to be taken to adult psychiatric. when they were suicidal or otherwise unstable. And that just isn't a great atmosphere for a child.
You think?
So yes, and so they've started this unit that's just taken off like,
Wow.
And it's so necessary.
$45,000 a month.
Yes, I'm not sure I should have said
Well,
that.
that's okay. Well,
but-
no, because that just means you want to give even more because you know what it's being used for.
Well, it's a struggle for us because we have great prices and our customers sometimes want to negotiate, and we are somewhat torn because
Yes.
number one, the prices are cheap anyway. And two, it may be free, but we are raising
Yes.
money for an endeavor that we would
Yes.
otherwise not have money in our state for.
3 words, for the kids.
Yes.
That's all you got to say, for the kids.
And I think in this day and age, you can't give enough money to kids in trouble to bring them back from the brink.
I like you. I like you. Now, I do know that you live in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Yes.
And you're a survivor.
Yes.
You're a survivor of what? Tell us a little bit.
Well, last year when we had all that rain, we
Yes.
had over 15 landslides on the private road system we live on. And so there were, I think, 2 or 3 times where I could not leave the road system and pretty much our property for 5 to 8 days. But we made it through that.
Yes.
And when you live up in the mountains like that, you don't think about wildfire, but you may think about heavy rains and landslides. So it was a big deal in the sense that it happened, but it wasn't a situation where we were stressed out. We just had to get through it. But this wildfire on October 16th was an entirely different situation.
A day you will remember forever.
That's correct. And in fact, even more so because I evacuated at about 1 in the morning. My husband stayed the rest of that day to dusk trying to save our place. And he said they were dropping water and boride around him. And I went to our P.O. box because I had nothing better to do, and I happened to have in my mailbox my property tax bill, my deed because we had just paid off the land, and one other piece that related to the property. And it was just later I looked back, it was just so ironic that here we go. It was a property day. So yes, our 20 acres was partially burned, and the grove of redwoods we have right next to our 2 yurts was partially burned.
In your house?
We live in 2 yurts, and one of the 2 yurts got partially melted. The outside of the yurts we have is a heavy plastic, and so the part of the wall and a little part of the roof were melted. But the crew that came in, they used our area as a staging area as well because we are at a good elevation and have flat area. And where the fire started, we were also in a really good spot for the hand crews to come in and take off from our property. But a group from northeastern Oregon were the ones who came in and saved our property. Apparently, a helicopter notified the hand crew that there was a property they could probably save, and to go there and to do that. And that was our property, and so they did. And we were on local news that apparently made national news, showing them back burning part of our property to save the rest of it.
Did you get calls from any friends or relatives?
We didn't because they were so close up to the yurt, you couldn't tell. You could kind of tell.
Okay.
But the friends and relatives, I was letting them know before because there was so much concern.
And were you able to get in touch with those firefighters and thank them?
Yes, in fact.
That's wonderful.
And the amazing thing about them too is they were so happy to be there, and they kept telling, because my husband went up at one point and they told him, what a beautiful piece of property you have, and we were very happy to save it. And so everybody was extremely good to us, and I asked myself, who am I that you would save our property? But it was the right property, the right place, and
you don't need a who am I with firefighters.
Well,
the
Boulder Creek Volunteer Fire Department's been coming up and checking up, and in fact, December 28th, they came up to put out a stump that was smoldering. Oh. So here we are over 2 months later, and they're still making sure that we are safe.
God bless firefighters.
Yes. So
unbelievable.
Yes.
I think October 16th, you need to have a little get-together of your yurt, the one that is still there, and have a big party, invite them down from Oregon.
Yes.
And you know, say, look what you did.
Yeah.
We're still here.
Well, really the amazing part is they stopped the fire literally. I mean, it hit part of the yurt. That's our yurt. We use wood burning stove. We had all of our firewood in there. I had on the other side of the yurt where they stopped it, I had all my paperwork for, you know, all of our many years.
Were you able to save that?
Oh, all of it.
Yeah, when you left, you took it, right?
It's almost as if it didn't happen, as I tell people, even though it did, and clearly it did. But
in your heart and in your mind, you know it happened.
Yes. But as I've told people, there was a good reason why the Indians would burn every so often. Our place looks state park-like where it hasn't burned.
Unbelievable.
But they, you know, the pictures I've taken and the footage, the video footage from the newscasters was just, it's just a really great, that's a really good measure of what happened.
Yes, and how nice to have a blessing come out of it.
Yes.
And you had several.
Yes, we did, and yes, and we were taken in by a couple they've been friends of ours, but we were with them for several weeks.
Okay, definitely a party, October 16th.
That's right.
Oh, you're a delight,
Yes.
and thank you so much for what you do at Happy Dragon and
Oh.
all the money that is raised for the kids.
You know, I just must tell you that the average age of our volunteer is just over 70 years of age. And for what we do at that store,
Pretty amazing.
It's like we must give them some kind of juice in the morning to get them going,
it's
because
called love.
It's love, it's dedication,
Yes.
and they have found a home where many of our women needed a place to go.
Sure, to have something to do.
Exactly,
Yes.
as much as we needed
I
them.
get it.
And so it's a definite marriage of just love, as you say.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you, Ann. And
Thank you,
October
Lisa.
16th, I'll be
Yes,
thinking
oh
of
good,
you.
thank
Okay?
you.
Well, what a wonderful, wonderful interview. Thank you so much. Got you here on two fronts. That was great. Ann had a story. Do you have a story? I bet you do. So easy. You go to the nomination page right there, the front of kcat.org. And thank you. Thank you so much for always being with us here at Community Storytelling on KCAT TV 15.